Good morning. My apologies for the late start. This meeting of the Louisiana Tax Commission is hereby called to order. This meeting is being held at the offices of the Louisiana Tax Commission at 1051 North 3rd Street, Suite 225, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Okay. I got the button pressed.
Chairman Shahardi.
I haven't finished the.
Oh, yeah, he hadn't finished.
Stop.
Testing one. Yeah.
Yeah. I hear her a little bit.
Testing.
Testing.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Mhm.
Let's start over again. All right. Modern technology. All right. Good morning. This meeting of the Louisiana Tax Commission is hereby called to order. This meeting is being held at the offices of the Louisiana Tax Commission at 1051 North 3rd Street, Suite 225, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The date is Wednesday, October 11th, 2023, and the time is 10:08 a.m. Please call the roll.
Chairman Shahardi,
Here.
Commissioner Potier,
Here.
Commissioner Jeffers, Commissioner Vercher,
Here.
Commissioner Wood,
Here.
5 present and a quorum.
Thank you. There being no old business to take up at this time, I'm going to first move that we defer action today on the September 20th, 2023 Rules and Regs Adoption Session. I move that we defer till next week. Is there any objection to the motion? There being no objection to the motion stands adopted. We'll now consider the October 4th, 2023 open meetings minutes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I move for approval of the minutes for the October 4th, 2023 meeting.
We have a motion. Is there any objection to the motion? There being no objection to the motion stands adopted. We'll now move on to change orders.
Chandrika Banks on behalf of the Louisiana Tax Commission. Today, we have a total of 453 change orders. Staff has reviewed those change orders and requests to approve 446 and place 7 in pending status. Staff requests approval of these change orders.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I would move that we accept staff recommendations and approve 446 change orders and place 7 in pending status.
We have a motion. Is there any objection to the motion? There being no objection to the motion stands adopted. We'll now consider prior pending change orders.
Chandrika Banks on behalf of the Louisiana Tax Commission. Today, we have a total of 47 prior pending change orders. Staff has reviewed those change orders and requests to approve 47. Staff requests approval of the prior pending change orders.
Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we accept staff recommendations, approve 47 prior pending change orders as requested by staff.
We have a motion. Is there any objection to the motion? There being no objection to the motion stands adopted. We'll now consider tax sale cancellations.
Chandrika Banks on behalf of the Louisiana Tax Commission. Today, we have a total of 3 tax sale cancellations. 1 in Livingston Parish due to being sold in error. Another one in Livingston Parish due to being duly assessed, and 1 in East Baton Rouge Parish due to being erroneously sold. Staff requests approval of 3 tax sale cancellations.
Yes. We have a motion. Is there any objection to the motion? There being no objection to the motion stands adopted. We'll now consider the approval of the 2023 tax rolls for the following parishes: Bienville, East Carroll, Rapide, St. James, Union, Caldwell, Morehouse, Sabine, Kensaw, and West Carroll.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tanisha Malvo on behalf of the Louisiana Tax Commission. Today, we do have the 10 parishes that were mentioned. We have received their tax rolls. Their electronic rolls have all balanced. We have received their TC 33s and their millage reports, which all reflect the same numbers as the electronic roll. We've also received the public service recap, their affidavits, their quietuses, and their approval letters from the Louisiana Legislative Auditor. Staff recommends approval for the 2023 tax rolls for Bienville, Caldwell, East Carroll, Morehouse, Rapides, Sabine, St. James, Tensas, Union, and West Carroll.
All right, we have a motion, we have a motion.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
I would move that we approve the 2023 tax rolls for the following parishes: Bienville, East Carroll, Rapides, St. James, Union, Caldwell, Morehouse, Sabine, Tensas, and West Carroll.
and you did say Bienville. Okay. All right, we have a motion for approval. Is there any objection to the motion? There being no objection to the motion stands adopted. We'll now move on to consideration of the approval of the 2023 Orleans second quarter supplemental tax roll.
Good morning, Tanisha Malvo on behalf of the Louisiana Tax Commission. We have received the calendar year 2023 supplemental tax roll for Orleans Parish, quarter two for tax years 2020, 21, 22, and 23. These properties were either omitted or erroneously assessed for those applicable tax years due to homestead exemption being removed or an age freeze being removed. The assessor has provided an affidavit certifying that the information contained in the supplemental tax roll is correct to the best of his knowledge and that all affected taxpayers were timely notified. As you know, with supplemental rolls, a quietus nor the letter from the auditor is not required because that was filed in the initial rolls. And also that the LTC values did not change with the supplemental rolls. The electronic roll, we did receive the electronic roll, we did receive the TC 33s for those years and the millage report. Thus, staff request approval for the calendar year 2023 Orleans Parish Quarter Two supplemental tax roll for 2020, 21, 22, and 23 tax years.
The Folgers properties, are those part of the supplemental roll or are those part of the change orders?
That was a part of the change orders.
And that was included in the change orders that we approved
That is
a few
correct.
moments ago.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
You want to go ahead and make the motion, Mr. Jeffers? And did you say that the supplemental roll included 2020 or not 2020?
2020.
So 20, 21, 22, and 23.
Yes.
All right. All right, we have a motion to approve the supplemental roll. Is there any objection to the motion? There being no objection to the motion stands adopted. Thank you. We'll now hear on the assessor's motion in limine in the matter of Cantium LLC versus Lafourche Parish docket number 22-22057-026. Ask everybody to come on up to the microphone. I'll also ask anybody who's planning on testifying today to please stand up at your chair to be sworn in as a witness.
Yes.
I'm sorry. First time I've heard of this.
All right, thank you. Mr. Addington, it's the assessor's motion, so we'll ask you to go
Sure,
first.
I'll start, and it'd probably make most sense to start with, oh, I'm sorry. To start with the testimony, to kind of lay the foundation for this. And I would like to call April Harris, who's already at the table. It's my first witness. And Commissioners, I have a set of documents that I'm going to use for my examination. Those are for the Commissioners. These are for you. Ms. Harris, you've already been sworn in. Could you please identify yourself for the record?
Yes, I'm April Harris, Tax Director for Cantium. I've been Tax Director since 2017.
And in that time, you have been the point of contact for Cantium with the Lafourche Parish Assessor's Office, correct?
Correct.
And do you know if anybody else has dealt directly with the Lafourche Parish Assessor's Office regarding Cantium's assessments?
Yes, our CFO, Ken Beer.
And when did that take place?
He's had several phone calls and emails with the assessor. I'm not sure of the dates.
And this was recently regarding settlement discussions or actually while the assessments were being made?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to object for a moment for speculation on Ms. Harris's part and trying to remember. Mr. Beer is here and could testify
Okay.
to that directly. Mr. Eddington.
Perfect. Ms. Harris, this appeal primarily circles around an act of sale that took place on June 13th, 2017. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Our 2022 appeal is based on that.
Right. And again, that sale took place on June 13th, 2017, based upon the pre-filed documents. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Okay. You previously testified that you became aware that the tax commission's rules and regulations provide that sales properly documented should be considered by the assessor as fair market value, provided the sale meets all tests relative to it being a valid sale at some point in the fall of 2019. However, you didn't bring the sale up when you filed your returns with the Lafourche Parish Assessor's Office in the spring of 22. And you explained, and this is a direct quote, well, I mean, frankly, from my recollection is I had a lot of income tax returns that are due around that same time, and I was busy with my client's work. Do you recall that testimony? I have a copy of the transcript if you'd like me to refresh your memory.
Mr. Eddington, could you restate, are you, and Ms. Harris is going to, have to think about this for a moment. Are you referencing the 2020 hearing or the
Th- th-
2021?
That would have been in the 2020 hearing.
I'm sorry. I thought this hearing was about 3 documents that we provided
It is.
and not anything else.
It is. Let me ask you again.
Okay.
In 2020, when you filed your renditions on behalf of Cantium, you did not raise an issue regarding the sale. When asked to explain, you testified, well, I mean, frankly, from my recollection is I had a lot of income tax returns that are due around the same time, and I was busy with my client's work. Do you recall giving that testimony?
I don't know if that's
There's no-
verbatim what I said.
You
But-
either recall or you don't recall.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
if you
and
don't
I-
recall, you don't recall. That doesn't mean you didn't say it.
Okay,
It's just that
that's
you don't
correct.
recall. I'm not trying to put
No,
words.
no.
Trying to
That's
clarify.
And,
Oh,
and the
response.
transcript actually represents what the transcript represents.
It does, and commissioners,
Right.
for the record, I would note that that appears in the 2020 hearing transcript at page 113, lines through to 9.
Mr. Chairman, one point of order.
Sure.
I forgot to introduce myself. Phyllis Sims, Keen Miller, representing Cantium.
Actually,
Okay.
now that you mentioned it, I believe I did too.
You did
Ron
too.
Eddington on
Well,
behalf
we know who you are,
of the
but for the
Lafourche
public,
Assessor's Office.
you're right. And let's not lose sight. We're here on the 2022 roll, is what we're discussing.
I'm
today.
gonna hopefully roll through the history pretty quickly. Ms. Harris, you also previously testified that on Tuesday, September the 8th, 2020, you contacted Deputy Assessor Jessica Swift by telephone asking if Cantium could schedule a meeting to discuss a reduction in valuation of the 2020 assessment.
Mr. Eddington, are you referencing a document here in what you handed Ms. Harris?
No, that was a telephone conference that is referenced in the 2020 hearing at page 79, lines 8 through 14.
Okay,
now-
and is there a question there, Mr. Eddington?
No, I'm actually, the question's about to come.
Okay,
Now turning to the documents. There's a document, it's already in the record, but I've marked it for today's purposes as Exhibit 1. You see that document?
Yes, sir.
The following morning, September the 9th, 2020, you followed up by email asking, have you heard if Wendy is available for a call today or tomorrow? Deputy Swift responded, no, I have not. I'm waiting to speak to her about you, but she has a family emergency. I do not know when she will be in. Do you see that document?
Yes,
And do you recall that exchange?
I don't recall.
You don't? Okay. Turn to the document marked as Exhibit 2. The following morning, September the 10th, you followed up with yet another email stating, I understand Wendy is not available this week due to a family emergency, but will the office be open tomorrow to accept deliveries? In light of the assessor being unavailable, Richard Kirkland, CEO of Cantium, would like to deliver a supplemental information for consideration of the valuation of the 2020 property tax assessment. Do you see that in the email?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And again, if you look at the top of the page, Ms. Swift promptly responded. I'll be in the office tomorrow if Mr. Kirkland wants to drop them off. I will be here from 8:30 to 4:30, and I got to lunch from 12:30 to 1:30. I spoke with Assessor Thibodeau and she said she can set up a meeting, but she said you would have to get me to look over the documents before any determination is made. Do you see that language also?
I do.
Okay, now turn to Exhibit 3. On Friday, September the 11th, 2020, a letter that you wrote was hand-delivered to Assessor Thibodeau, which states, please accept the attached additional information as a supplement to our rendition forms timely filed with your office on or about May 27th, 2020. The purchase price for the assets is substantially lower than the current fair market value concluded by your office. Then he goes on to reference a conveyance record for 2017 asset acquisition of related assets. Due to the physical volume and sensitive nature, non-disclosure agreement in effect between the seller and the buyer, a full asset purchase and sale agreement is not provided herewith. Is that in fact what the letter says?
However, is available for your review upon request.
Okay. Okay, you previously testified that this was the first time that Cantium represented to Assessor Thibodeau that the purchase price for the assets is substantially lower than the current fair market value concluded by your office. But you also testified that you did not provide Assessor Thibodeau or the Lafourche Parish Assessor's Office with any information disclosing the price paid for those assets with your September 11th, 2020 letter. Is that accurate?
No, sir, we did provide the conveyance of record for the 2017 asset acquisition.
Okay, you said you provided the conveyance. Can you tell me exactly which document you provided?
No, sir, that's not one of the 3 documents that this hearing is about.
Correct. And prior years, you readily acknowledged and the documents in the record, the conveyance record that was filed with the Lafourche Parish Clerk of Court does not disclose a sales price, does it?
I don't recall.
Okay, well, the document will speak for itself. Okay, in her September the 10th, 2020 email to you, Ms. Swift specifically told you that you would have to get me to look over the documents before any determination is made. When I asked you to explain why you didn't produce the asset sale and purchase agreement to the assessor, you testified, and I quote, "Because it was confidential. I'd probably get fired if I would have sent it off, without any agreement of confidentiality." Do you recall giving that testimony?
No, but sounds reasonable.
Okay. For the record, that appears in the 2020 hearing transcript at page 117, line 23 through page 118, line 18. Okay, let's turn to tax year 2021, and I want you to look to Exhibit 4. On September the 30th, 2021, you submitted a letter to the Lafourche Parish Assessor's Office asking that they consider the sales price for the 2021 assessment, but once again stating, and I quote, "Due to physical volume and sensitive nature, non-disclosure agreements in effect between the seller and buyer, a full asset purchase and sale agreement is not provided." Is that in fact what your letter states?
No, what paragraph are you reading from again?
The first paragraph on the second page. Would you like me to read it again?
No, that is what the letter says.
Okay. In the 2021 hearing, when I asked you why you didn't provide a copy of the asset purchase and sale agreement, you testified, and again, I quote, "Because it was confidential in nature and voluminous, but we have made several attempts to go over there and review it with the assessor's office." You recall that testimony?
No, not exactly.
Okay, for the record, that appears in the 2021 hearing transcript at page 100, lines 22 through 25. Other than the September 11th, 2020 letter, which was previously marked as Exhibit 3, and which was delivered when you knew that Assessor Thibodeau was unavailable due to a family emergency, what attempts has Cantia made to go over there and review it being the asset sale and purchase agreement with the assessor's office?
Okay, so it was offered September 11th, 2020 in that letter. It was offered September 3rd, 21 in a letter to the assessor. And then on January 28th, it was submitted in the 2020 tax hearing to the tax commission, which the assessor was at the hearing. And it was discussed, and that hearing was on May 18th, 2022. But we submitted our exhibits on January 28th, 22. And then again on May 23rd, 2022, it was included in the lat filing cover letter reference that the ASPA had been previously submitted. And so I didn't reattach it to the letter with a 22 lat filing, but I did reference the fact that it was in the 2020 tax hearing exhibits that had already occurred.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack there. You say that it was in the 2020 tax hearing. You're talking about the evidence that was filed with the tax commission, correct?
Correct. A copy was sent to your office and copies were sent to the tax commission for the 2020 hearing, a full
Okay.
asset purchase and sale agreement.
You sent those records to my office.
Our attorney, Phyllis Sims, sent those to your
So
office.
how do you know they were sent to my office?
I received a receipt email from Phyllis.
Okay, and so what was submitted to my office were copies of the exhibits filed with the tax commission, correct?
Correct.
Okay, you also referenced a September the 3rd, 2021 letter, and you say that you offered it. That, flip back to exhibit 9.
I
and
don't,
The documents. I got today. No, no, no,
September 23rd, I don't believe I said that.
You said September the 3rd, 2021.
January 28th, we submitted the documents to the tax hearing. Oh, September 3rd,
Yes.
September 3rd.
So I want you to turn back to exhibit 9 in the documents I gave you.
Okay.
Is this the letter you were just referencing?
I'm not sure. I'm not there yet. Okay, exhibit 9. Yes.
Can you show me in this letter where you attempted to provide a copy of the asset sale and purchase agreement to Assessor Thibodeau?
That's not what I said. In this letter, we offer that is available upon her review.
And show me where it says that?
It is not provided herewith. However, it is available for her review, for your review, sorry, upon request. That is page 2, paragraph 1.
Well, to it, you kind of started in the middle of that sentence. Read the entire sentence.
Due to the physical volume and sensitive nature, parentheses, non-disclosure agreement is in effect between the seller and the buyer, close paren. A full asset purchase and sale agreement is not provided herewith, however, is available for your review upon request.
Okay, in the
Excuse me,
21,
where's that in this letter? Where are you reading that from?
top of page 2 on exhibit
Th-
9.
This is a letter I sent to the assessor September 3rd, 2021,
All right, I see it. Thank you.
exhibit 9, yeah.
Okay, Ms. Harris, in the 2021 hearing, when I asked you to explain what you meant by allowing Assessor Thibodeau to review the assets purchase and sale agreement, you testified, and I quote, well, when I mean review, she would have had the document in front of her and could have walked through and looked at it, touched it, whatever, and I would have answered any questions that she would have had. You recall that testimony?
I'm not sure I said touch it and whatever, but my intent was that we would go to her office with a copy, give her a copy, and allow her to review it and answer any questions that she had.
Well, since that was a direct quote, I would refer the commission to the transcript of the 2021 hearing at page 101, lines 17 through 20. Ms. Harris, I'll also ask you if you would have left a copy of the asset purchase and sale agreement with her, and you testified, and I quote, not before we had a protective order. You recall that testimony?
No, sir.
Okay, Commissioners, that appears in the 2021 hearing transcript at page 101, line 23. Can you explain to me why you wouldn't provide a copy of the asset purchase and sale agreement to Assessor Thibodeau without a protective order or confidentiality agreement?
From my level and my responsibility and for Cantium, I knew that that was in my past experience with other large companies, I knew that was a confidential document that I would not disclose to anyone unless I had permission from a higher up in my company or an attorney.
Okay. I want you to take a look back at Exhibit 3. That's your September 11th, 2020 letter. In the final paragraph on the first page, it states, we consider the information contained herewith to be confidential and not for public disclosure pursuant to LARS 47-2327. Do you see that?
Yes.
If you look at Exhibit 4, this is your letter dated September the 3rd, 2021. Turn to the final page. You again state, and I quote, we consider the information contained herewith to be confidential and not for public disclosure pursuant to LARS 47-2327. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, look at Exhibit 5. This is your letter for tax year 22 dated May 23rd, 2022. And if you look at the third page, toward the bottom, it once again states, we consider the information contained herewith to be confidential and not for public disclosure pursuant to LARS 47-2327. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. In the 2020 hearing, when I asked you to explain why you didn't produce the full asset sale and purchase agreement, you testified because it was confidential. I'd probably get fired if I were to send it off, without any agreement of confidentiality. And when I asked you the same question in 2021, you testified because it was confidential in nature and that you couldn't provide a copy without a protective order. Now, here's my question. If the law already provides that a taxpayer provided record is confidential and not for public disclosure, as each of the letters you submitted to Assessor Thibodeau's office references, why do you need a protective order or confidentiality agreement before providing a copy of the asset purchase and sale agreement to Assessor Thibodeau?
Mr. Eddington, I'm not an attorney. I'm a CPA. And frankly, I do not know if LARS 47-2327 covers that to the extent that it covers it.
So when you put that letter, you didn't know what you were saying?
I didn't think if it would cover this confidential purchase and sale agreement.
Okay,
I don't know the extent of that.
Okay. Did you ever ask Assessor Thibodeau to sign a protective order or confidentiality agreement?
No, because
Okay.
she never asked to see the document.
Okay. Let's
It
start
was
at tax
never
year
requested.
22. Let's go to Exhibit 5. On May the 23rd, 2022, you submit a letter to Assessor Thibodeau in which you stated, once again, due to physical volume and sensitive nature, non-disclosure agreements in effect between the seller and buyer, a full asset purchase and sale agreement, APSA, is not provided herewith. However, it was previously provided May 18th, 2022 as Exhibit 10 for the Louisiana Tax Commission hearing. Is that an accurate recitation of what your letter states?
Yes, the asset and purchase sale agreement was included and submitted on January 28th, 2022 as an exhibit for the 2020 tax year for the commission and for you, Mr. Eddington, to share with your client.
Okay. You submitted this letter on May the 23rd, 2022, correct?
Correct.
And that was just 5 days after the May 18th hearing at the tax commission, correct?
Now what year? I'm not sure of the date.
Well, in your letter's dated May the 23rd, 22,
The 22nd. Yes,
and
that's
it
correct.
references a May 18th hearing. So that was 5
Correct.
days earlier, correct?
The letter was 5 days later.
Okay, and you attended the tax year 2020 hearing at the tax commission, did you not?
Yes,
And you also attended the tax year 2021 hearing at the tax commission, did you not?
correct.
Ms. Harris, I'm gonna hand you a copy of the transcript of the 2020 hearing and ask you to read page 157, line 22 through page 158, line 14. And please read it out loud.
You want me to read the highlighted?
Yes, that's,
Okay.
that's, line 157, page 22 through 158, line 14. This is Assessor Thibodeau's testimony at this hearing that you attended.
Okay, who's asking the questions here?
I am.
Okay. And this is directed to Ms. Thibodeau?
Yes, it is.
And were you provided a copy of that sale at any point in time?
Keep going.
Her answer is no. I still. And then next line is have not seen it to this day.
Is it not, have you seen it to this day?
Have you seen it to this day?
Okay.
Then the next response, no, have not. It was unclear to me that Cantium purchased this in 2017. 3 years on July 6, 2020, they got an estimate of taxes of what their, an estimate of taxes on what their assessment was going to be in 2020. It took them from July 6th till September 8th to contact the office. Then it was a big rush and it was a reassessment year on top of all that. And again, you were at no time provided any information regarding the actual sales price or a copy of the asset purchase agreement. No, and it was mind-boggling because they paid for it in 2018 and 19, and they didn't complain about it until September 8th, 2020.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Harris. And you also just testified that you attended the tax year 2021 hearing. I have a transcript from the 2021 hearing. And I would ask you to read from page 131, line 20 through page 132, line 20, and please read it into the record.
What does this have to do with the 3 documents that we're
Ma'am,
supposed to be on
You
trial
answered
for?
my questions.
Okay. You want me to read for you again?
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon. Could you please state your name and position for the record? Wendy Thibodeau, the Lafourche Parish Assessor. And you're familiar with Cantium's assessment for tax year 2021, are you? Not. Yes, I am. And you've been in the room today for all the testimony, were you not? Yes, was her response. I want to ask you a couple of questions. Well, let's start with the asset purchase agreement. This is dash. It is a rather lengthy document that has been filed under the protective order. Have you ever provided a copy of the actual asset agreement? No. Ms. Sims sort of suggested earlier that, well, it was submitted to me, it was done under the protective order. Just to be clear, did I ever provide a copy of the asset purchase agreement to your office? No. Based on the information that was provided, were you able to determine the actual sales price that Cantium paid for the wells acquired by Cantium LLC? No.
Thank you, Ms. Harris.
You're welcome.
So you knew that Assessor Thibodeau had not been provided and had not reviewed the asset purchase and sale agreement. Can you explain to me why you didn't provide a copy of the asset purchase and sale agreement to Assessor Thibodeau for tax year 2022?
Because we provided a copy of the asset purchase and sale agreement in January 28, 2022 for the 2020 tax hearing.
Okay, let me
And-
interrupt you, Ms. Harris. That's not my question. I'm not asking what did you submit to the tax commission. I'm asking you, since you knew that Assessor Thibodeau had not seen this document, why did you not provide a copy of the document to Assessor Thibodeau?
I have sent emails asking if there was anything else that I could provide for the evaluations through the years and specifically 22 and no reply. And okay, I'm assuming here that you're her attorney, you would have given her a copy of the exhibits. She was in the room. We were discussing the exhibits. In fact, by this time, the commission, the Louisiana Tax Commission, had already ruled on the 2020 tax year based on the purchase price.
Okay. I'm gonna try this
Excuse me
again.
1 second, something clear. Did you provide you did not provide a copy of these documents to the assessor for 2022, but you did provide a copy of those documents to Mr. Eddington? Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Let's try this again. You just read the testimony. Assessor Thibodeau testified in both 20 and 21 that she had not received the documents. She had not seen them. You knew that. You've already testified. You were there. So you knew she had not received those documents. I'm not asking, what did you submit to the tax commission? I'm not asking, what did you provide to me? Given the fact that you knew Assessor Thibodeau did not have a copy of the asset purchase and sale agreement, why did you not provide a copy to Assessor Thibodeau?
I sent emails asking if she needed anything else. She was in the room. We were discussing the asset purchase sale agreement. She was provided a copy at 2 times.
Oh, okay, let's stop there.
Via her attorney.
Okay, when you say she was provided via her attorney, let's be very clear about this. What you mean was that your attorneys filed them as exhibits with the tax commission, and copy of those exhibits were served on me, correct?
Correct.
But again, Assessor Thibodeau testified that she still, despite all that, had not received it, correct?
I read that was what was stated in the testimony.
And you were there when she made that testimony in 20 and 21, correct?
Correct.
So you knew that she didn't have it. For whatever reason, maybe you assumed, I mean, at that point, you no longer assumed that I had given it to her.
I guess I thought when I sent an email asking, do you need anything else for the valuation? Is there anything we can provide that if she needed it, another copy, that we would have sent it to her?
Well, let's be clear. You say she needed another copy. You did not at any time provide Assessor Thibodeau, again, not the tax commission, not me. You did not at any time provide Assessor Thibodeau with a copy of the asset purchase and sale agreement, did you?
Via her attorney.
Let me ask you one more time. I'm not asking if it was provided to me. Did you provide a copy of the asset purchase and sale agreement to Assessor Thibodeau?
No.
Thank you. What about the affidavit of Jared Scott Ritter with assignment and bill of sale? This is Exhibit 13. Again, to be clear, I'm not talking, was it provided to the tax commission? Was it provided to me? Did you ever present the affidavit of Jared Scott Ritter with assignment and bill of sale to Assessor Thibodeau prior to the close of the deadline for filing a complaint with the Board of Review?
The affidavit was included on the January 28th, 22 submission of exhibits for the 2020 tax year.
Okay.
It was exhibit 13.
That was not my question. Again, I'm not asking what you submit to the tax commission. I'm not asking what you provided to me. Did you at any time provide a copy of the affidavit of Jared Scott Ritter with assignment and bill of sale attached to Assessor Thibodeau?
I did not, but as you
Okay,
made
that's
me
fine.
read, she was in the room when that document was discussed.
Okay,
She said she was here for the whole hearing, and that was the 2020 and 21 hearing where that document was discussed in detail. She was
Okay.
present.
I want you to turn to exhibit 12. Hold on a second. Well, I mean, the numbers get kind of, when we're talking about, we have made an objection to taxpayer exhibit 12A. And in fact, there are two different exhibit 12s, a 12A and a 12B that I've attached for current purposes as exhibit 6 and 7. You see those two documents?
Not yet. Oh, that was 12. Okay. Okay, I'm on exhibit 6.
6 and 7.
Okay.
Now, exhibit 6 and 7 are two different documents, are they not?
Well, let me look at them. The first 3 columns that are on exhibit 7 are the same as exhibit
Look,
6.
look. Ms. Harris, let's go a lot easier if you just answer my questions. These are two different documents, are they not?
Yes, I agree.
Okay. Now, we know from your prior testimony that exhibit 12A is a document that was actually attached to the asset sale and purchase agreement, correct?
Your exhibit 6 is the
Yes.
one attached,
Okay. Now,
and that's the one listed in the hearing for today.
correct. And exhibit 12B, we know from prior testimony, this is a document you created, that you removed some columns, you added some columns, you deleted some information, and you added a summation at the bottom of requested fair market value. Correct?
I allocated the purchase price to the state wells based on the column, the last column on exhibit 6.
And you previously testified that you simply prorated the cost, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I want to be clear. The objection today is only to exhibit 12A, not to exhibit 12B. You do understand that, correct?
The objection that is for your exhibit 6.
Yes, that is correct. Okay. In a memo that they filed with the tax commission on Friday, your attorneys state that exhibit 12A was in fact provided to Assessor Thibodeau. And they point to a couple of letters and an email that were submitted as taxpayer exhibits 3A, 3BI, and 3C triple I. Is it correct? Did you provide a copy of exhibit 12A to Assessor Thibodeau in any of these letters?
So this exhibit 6, it was in the letter September 11th, 2020 exhibit. So in the 22 exhibit binder, it is 3CI.
Okay.
It was first offered to the assessor on
I'm not
September
asking-
11th,
I'm not asking
20,
offered, I'm asking
20?
was it provided?
and then on September 2020, it was submitted to the assessor's office. It was the Exhibit F, and with this plus the allocated purchase price for the state wells. So it did include, so on September 20th, 2020, it did include an extra column for the allocation of the purchase price.
Right, that
And
was
then
Exhibit 7. correct?
On September 3rd, in your 2022 binder, Exhibit 3B1, 3BI, I'm sorry, is there, again, with the additional added column for the allocated purchase price. And then on January
Hold on, wait here.
28th,
So is 3BI the same as 12A? And I don't know if I'm asking you that question or Mr. Addington.
That's actually exactly what we're going to. Okay, well, let's try this another way.
I'm citing your 2022 exhibit binder that you've already received for our hearing next week. Okay, so on January 28th, it was that Exhibit F that he's referring to for this trial hearing is included in the purchase and sale agreement that is part of the purchase and sale agreement. It was included in your binder for the 2020 tax year.
Okay, Ms. Harris, let's get back on track. I'm asking you, again, there are two different documents that for present purposes are marked as Exhibit 6 and 7, Exhibit 12A and 12B, and you've admitted that they're different documents. There's no dispute that 12B was provided to the assessor. I'm asking you, was Exhibit 12A provided to the assessor? And just a yes or no, you don't have to go through the history.
Yes, it was on January 28th, 2022, when we submitted our exhibits for the 2020 hearing.
Ms. Harris. I'm gonna
That
ask-
is
I'm gonna
included.
ask, I'm gonna ask you again. I'm not asking, did you submit it to the tax commission? Did you give it to me?
Yeah,
Was Exhibit
you.
12A marked as Exhibit 6 provided to Assessor Thibodeau?
The contents of Exhibit F was included in those numerous times I've stated previously. That content was included. It had an additional column for the allocated purchase price added to it on the right.
So what you're saying is you
And
provided
then-
Exhibit 12B, but not 12A?
So your Exhibit 6 is included in the asset purchase and sale agreement, which was provided to you January 28th, 2022 for the 2020 hearing.
Ms. Harris, let's stay focused. I'm not asking what you provided to me. I'm asking, what did you provide to Assessor Thibodeau? I know you provided Exhibit 12B, and I understand that some of the data from 12A is in 12B. I'm asking, did you provide a copy of 12A to, again, not the tax commission, not me, did you provide 12A to Assessor Thibodeau?
No,
Thank you.
But
Oh, now I got my papers all
Exhibit,
mixed up.
your Exhibit 7 includes Exhibit 6. It
Right.
includes it.
Well, it includes some of the information, correct? Because there is some information you blanked out, correct?
It includes the information.
You
I don't,
you don't see missing
I can
columns?
sit here and see what column. I think it appears that I might have blacked out one descriptive column, but everything else is here intact.
Okay. But again, 12A and 12B are different documents. 12B was provided to Assessor Thibodeau. Exhibit 12A was not, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. That's no further questions.
Any questions, Ms. Sims?
Just a few follow-up, Mr. Chairman. I'll start with the 12A, 12B, since that's where we left off. Ms. Harris, there was the same type of exchange during the 2020 hearing regarding the 12A, 12B. So the 2021 hearing, actually both exhibits were submitted. And there is your testimony in the 2021 tax year hearing transcript regarding the difference. Will you please explain the difference, first of all, what the document is and the difference in the two documents, how they compare and contrast?
Yes. So it was what was included in the PSA. After the PSA was prepared, there was one of the leases did not have an allocated value on it. So after that, there was like $300,000 wasn't on one of the wells. So we put in the 300,000 to make the total equal the price in the PSA. And then
Let me re-ask this. What is 12A? What is Exhibit F? 12A is what?
it's the allocation of the value of the assets that was included in the purchase and sale agreement.
And then there is you then made an additional column to do what?
To allocate the purchase price to the state leases.
And that's the distinction between the 12A and 12B, but they are the same Schedule F to the asset purchase and sale agreement, correct?
Correct.
Let me go back to the asset sale and purchase agreement quickly. So in 2020, on September 11th, 2020, there was a letter that you drafted to the assessor that Mr. Eddington has already gone over with you. And was that letter not delivered to the assessor's office by the CEO, Richard Kirkland?
Yes, Mr. Kirkland drove from our Covington office to hand deliver the package to the assessor's office because it was an important issue and he was hoping to discuss the value with someone.
And Mr. Eddington has already gone over with you the prior email correspondence where you had asked if the assessor would be in the office and that the CEO intended to drive down, correct?
Correct.
And did you also send with Mr. Kirkland a copy of the asset purchase and sale agreement, the voluminous document, with Mr. Kirkland for his drive down?
Correct.
And you had previously testified to that, correct?
I don't recall exactly.
And was Mr. Kirkland able to meet with the assessor when he drove down?
No.
I'm going to stop there for now and save the rest of the questions on the direct for Ms. Harris.
Couple of redirect. Ms. Harris, can you turn to exhibit 2 and the exhibits I've submitted today?
Okay.
I'm sorry, Mr. Eddington.
Can you turn to exhibit 2? The document? Okay, on the bottom half is an email from you to Jessica Swift, Deputy Assessor Jessica Swift, on Thursday, September the 10th, 2020 at 1:53 in the afternoon. Can you read the first paragraph, actually the first sentence of your email to Jessica?
Jessica, I understand Wendy is not available this week due to a family emergency, but will the office be open tomorrow to accept deliveries?
So you knew that Assessor Thibodeau was out due to a family emergency, did you not?
Yes, but I was hoping Jessica would be available.
Okay. And so on Friday, you submit a letter that was delivered to Ms. Swift. It's addressed to Assessor Thibodeau, but she was out, so it went to Ms. Swift. And it specifically says, and this is Exhibit 4, the assignment and bill of sale by Cantium, I'm sorry, wrong quote. Oh, due to the physical volume and sensitive nature, non-disclosure agreements in effect between the seller and buyer, a full asset purchase and sale agreement is not provided herewith. However, it is available for your review upon request. Does it not say that?
I'm sorry, what exhibit?
Okay,
what page
Exhibit
number
4.
is it on?
Top of page 2. So you knew Assessor Thibodeau was out. On Thursday, you submitted a letter. I'm sorry, on
This is
Friday,
2021,
September the 3rd.
and this is 2020.
Whoop, I'm sorry, I've got so many documents going. This would
Yep.
be Exhibit 3. And I got,
So the letter
No, no,
you're
I'm sorry,
you're
it's exhibit-
referencing was in 2021 and the
exhibit.
email is in 2020.
yeah, it's Exhibit 3. This is the letter you submitted the following day after acknowledging that you were aware Assessor Thibodeau was out for a family emergency, correct?
No, sir, it's a different year. Exhibit 4 is,
I'm asking about Exhibit 3.
okay, Exhibit 3 is 2020. Okay,
And that letter specifically states, due to the physical volume and sensitive nature, non-disclosure agreements in effect between the seller and buyer, a full asset purchase and sale agreement is not provided herewith. However, is available for your review upon request. Is that what it says?
you on Exhibit 3?
That's Exhibit 3.
I'm a little confused.
Why are we continuing to talk about 2020 when this involves 2022?
Because their entire claim is it was provided in 2020.
Okay, well,
and-
that's not clear. That, to me, it sounds like we're off on a tangent. And
Uh,
we spent close to an hour off on a tangent that does not deal with 2022. I'm concerned about 2022. I'm concerned about the testimony that your attorney was provided this information. In my legal world, if I receive something regarding a matter of one of my clients, I would turn that over to my client, or at least discuss it with them. That's what I'm getting out of this testimony. And it seems to me, we keep arguing about 2020, we ought to be arguing about 2022. What somebody did in 2020 is in 2020. What they're doing in 2022 is relevant to 22. And I just don't understand why we're beating this dead horse.
And if I
Close
could-
to an
if I
hour.
could answer that question, Commissioner, it's because their argument is that, well, yes, we didn't give it to her in 22, but we did give it to her in 2020 through her attorney. And I'm simply trying to clearly establish,
Look,
Then-
I'm not, I don't want to get into, I'm gonna say argument. I don't mean I'm arguing
Okay.
with you, disagreeing, but I want to talk about 2022.
Okay.
But I mean, you do what you think you
okay,
need
well,
to
then,
do.
then that's great. Then that's a great segue for my last question. Ms. Harris. For tax year 2022, did you provide a copy of the asset sale and purchase agreement to Assessor Thibodeau? Not in 20, not in 21, in 22.
When I filed the 22 lat form, the cover letter stated that the asset and purchase sale agreement had been provided 5 days earlier in the hearing for the 2021 year, 2020 tax year.
Right, now, maybe this time you'll answer
So
my
it said
question.
it wasn't included in the cover, in the package, because it was included in the same document. The document hasn't changed. The same document was previously included for the 2021 binder, the exhibit binder, and for the 2022, the 2020 and 21 binders for the hearing.
Would the 2022 be substantially similar to the 2021 document?
It's
That was,
a-
that was
it's-
before the
It's
deal.
the same purchase and sale agreement. It's the same document,
Okay,
exact same document that we had a hearing on May 23rd. And I filed the the lat form on May 3rd, and we had just had the hearing on May 18th. Where that document was discussed and provided in the exhibits.
So again, Ms. Harris, so for tax year 22, you did not provide a copy of the asset purchase and sale agreement to Assessor Thibodeau, did you?
I did via her attorney on January 28th, 22.
Well, that was in the 2020 appeal, was it not?
It was in the 2020 tax hearing.
Okay,
here in
I'm
this
asking you about
office.
2022. For tax year 2022, did you actually provide a physical copy of the asset purchase and sale agreement to Assessor Thibodeau?
No,
Thank you. No further questions. Your Honor, the next one should be very, very quick. As my next witness, I'd like to call Assessor Wendy Thibodeau.
Oh, yeah, forgot about that.
Oh,
Sorry. Jessica and I want to. Yes. I do.
good morning. Could you please state your name and position for the record?
Wendy Thibodeau, Lafourche Parish Assessor.
And you're familiar with Cantium's assessment for tax year 2022, are you not?
Yes, I am.
In fact, this is the third appeal that Cantium has brought before the tax commission. They also filed appeals for tax years 20 and 21, did they not?
Yes, they did.
Okay. I had Ms. Harris read from the transcript of the 2020 appeal hearing earlier, and you testified that you'd never been provided a copy of the asset purchase agreement. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
And in the 2021 hearing, I'm sorry, the tax year 2021 appeal hearing, you once again testified that you'd never been provided with a copy of the asset purchase agreement. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
You also testified that based upon the information that was provided to you, you were not able to determine the actual sales price that was paid for the wells acquired by Cantium. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
In the 2020 appeal hearing, I asked April Harris to explain why she didn't provide you with a copy of the asset purchase and sale agreement, and she testified, and I quote, "Because it was confidential, I'd probably get fired if I would have sent it off, without any agreement of confidentiality." In the 2021 appeal hearing, I asked her the same question, and she testified, and again, I quote, "Because it was confidential in nature and voluminous, and that she couldn't provide to you without a copy of a protective order." Did Cantium ever request that you or your office enter into an agreement of confidentiality or a protective order?
No,
And the law already requires that you keep all records provided and information provided by a taxpayer confidential, does it not?
it does.
Okay, in the 2021 hearing, Ms. Sims, and you're hearing a lot of it today, suggested that the asset purchase agreement was submitted as an exhibit with the tax commission, and that copies of those documents were served on me, creating this impression, this intimation that I provided a copy of that document to you. Just to be clear, did I ever provide a copy of the asset purchase agreement to you or your office?
No,
Assessor Thibodeau, to be clear, I don't work for your office, do I?
no, you don't.
Does your office have a general counsel?
Yes, I do.
Who is that?
Gerald Block with Block Law Firm.
And that's the Black Law Firm in Thibodeau?
Yes,
Do you know by whom I'm employed?
the Louisiana Assessors Association.
And I'm not employed by the Black Law Firm, am I?
No,
Now, you did retain me to represent you in the appeals that Cantium filed with the Tax Commission for tax years 2020, 21, and 22, correct?
correct.
And that was the full extent of my involvement in your office's dealings with Cantium, was it not?
Correct.
And to be clear, do I have any role? And did I at any point in time have any role at all in your office's assessment of Cantium's property for tax years 20, 21, and or 22?
No,
In fact, you didn't retain me until after the assessments were complete, upheld by the Board of Review, and appeals were filed with the Tax Commission, correct?
correct. For the appeal of 2020, it was after the 2020 appeal. correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And again in 21, correct? I
Yes,
mean, you didn't
yes,
hire me until,
After the appeal.
and was it for 22?
Yeah, until after the appeal.
Okay. And again, Cantium did not provide you or your office with a copy of the asset purchase and sale agreement at any time prior to the deadline for filing a complaint with the Board of Review, did they?
No,
Okay, that deadline was more than a year ago. Have they provided you a copy of the asset purchase and sale agreement at any time since?
no,
It's now been more than 6 years since the sale took place. Has Cantium ever provided you with a copy of the asset purchase and sale agreement?
no.
Thank you. No further questions.
I have no questions for Assessor Tivitt.
Am I done?
I have no further.
I believe so.
I kind of jumped over.
I believe you're done. Mr. Addington, does that conclude your?
Yes, it does,
Oh, okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
And then,
Sam?
Mr. Chairman, I'm assuming we'll do
I'm
a
sorry,
brief,
talk up.
I'm assuming we'll do brief closing arguments after the testimony.
Very briefly.
Very brief, right?
Very
Brief
briefly.
arguments
Yeah, I
after the
mean,
testimony.
you do a summation. Each side can
A
have. a minute.
summation, correct. I just wanted to make sure.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
All right, then I'm going to call as first witness, April Harris.
Okay.
Before we get started, Mr. Chairman, I have a demonstrative that is for the commission. Similar to Mr. Eddington, it is not the lengthy documents, but it is a chronology of each of the documents that have been objected to. And I have a, Chandrika, I have one in there for you. Wait, hold on. Let me give, okay, there you go. Thank you. The timing for each of these can be a bit confusing, so we thought it would be easier for all of us if we just listed the chronology for each of the documents which have been objected to.
Let's take a 5-minute recess.
Wasn't me this time.